what the big picture is here, which we haven't actually talked about between us, is extraterrestrial involvement.
You've got to be very careful about that. Oh, just put the question bluntly, you know, most people, all the alternative media and a lot of people now, I mean, just look, go back to the 50s, right? If you ask the ordinary man in the street in Walthamstow in England whether he believes in aliens, he'd laugh his head off and go and get some pie and mash. If you ask him today, he may well say, yeah, there has got to be something, because he's educated, he knows that that's vast the universe.
And he's being conditioned by Hollywood movies and television series. Okay. Which is all part of what I mean, we are being prepared to come to terms with this.
But not for the reasons you think.
For what reasons?
They're going to have nothing to do with us. They are. If you, all right,
the ETs are going to have...
This call a spade. Yeah, they exist. There is no conjecture. They do. Yeah, there is stuff. But you know what? That's no big surprise to 50% of people, shall we say.
Right.
But that number's gone up, hasn't it? You know, more and more people realise, you know, more important, you know, NASA have got more and more slapdash about, and cannot, because of the very thing they've created, the media monster behind trying to get money for the space race.
Yes.
Is still there from the 60s.
Yes.
And people, there is a lot of people that are very interested in it. And so because of that, cameras are on the shuttle. And because of the internet and various people that are clever with the internet, Mr. McKinnon and people like that, who I know very well.
Do you know Gary McKinnon?
I'll tell you a story about him later on.
Off record? Yeah. That's a shame. Okay. All right. We're talking about cameras on the shuttle and people are clever with computers.
What I'm trying to say is, you can't, there's so many now.
Yes.
You can't keep your lid on everything.
You're saying it's impossible to hide the reality.
And there's a certain piece of video that is quite prevalent on the internet, of a circular thing rolling behind a tether.
Yes, I know that one.
That's factual.
Yes.
A couple of miles across, but it's not a ship, and things aren't what you think they are out there. You should regard space more as an ocean.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got no right to turn around and say intelligent or unintelligent, you know, because then what you're doing, you're comparing things to your intellect, aren't you?
Okay.
And how can you compare that to a human?
Are you stating this as a fact?
Absolutely.
A fact. And what you're talking about here is you're talking about large living beings, like big kind of...
And small.
And small living beings.
Look at it this way, if you've got a shark swimming through the ocean, he's got fish swimming all around him most of the time, picking up morsels, servicing him, and he doesn't eat them. They go right in his mouth.
Yes.
And come out. You know, that's a natural thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Is it so far-fetched for you to understand that that could be the situation out there?
Okay. But at the same time, there are some what we could regard as metallic craft, things that you could call spacecraft.
Right.
As well.
Yeah.
Right.
But tell you what, I've got an axe to grind here, so let me grind my axe. Right?
You do that.
Okay, so here you are, you're an alien, yeah, you're on the other side of the universe, right, for instance, yeah, you're in Orion, yeah, you're that far away, yeah, you're in your ship and you're flying all the way here, and you cross intergalactic space in a fantastic piece of machinery, yeah, and then you crash in Nevada.
Right.
Rubbish!
Okay.
Rubbish! You're shot down.
Okay.
That's what happened to you.
Yes.
Because you didn't think that there was any kind of particle weapon or kinetic weapon that could do that.
Yes.
Well, you wasn't prepared because it was the first time you came.
Yes. It was got something to do with radar, wasn't it? They discovered that radar would actually do this.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Well, it was quite an aggressive... It wasn't an accident.
Okay. I've got you. So you're saying that the so-called crashes weren't crashes, they're actually offensive actions which were discovered...
I ask you to understand that because you don't cross intergalactic space and then crash in Nevada, do you?
I understand that.
You see, that's my axe there, so sorry, go on.
I've got you, that's fine. So you're saying that initially there was a way of bringing the craft down that was discovered by accident, and then it was, more or less, and then it was fairly quickly...
It was a deliberate attempt.
Utilised.
Amazing that it worked.
Yes, right.
And then when it did, so
it's a lucky hit, and then they started to get focused about it.
Yeah, well, they realised that it could be done, and then went down the avenue of trying to figure out how they done it and what actually did cause it, and they needed to look at the thing that they brought down to do that.
Yes, and then
they educated them, so they became much better at it.
Yes, because then you got the Americans mainly, I guess. Was it only the Americans? Or did this happen in every country?
No, let's drop the borders and than the nationalities.
Okay.
It's not,
So then you got people who are pretty smart, who got their hands on this ET technology, and that was never part of the setup. That was never part of the plan, was it?
no,
It was never part of the plan.
no.
Okay. And what kind of problems has that caused?
Well, you know what we're like. It's not caused. They want to go. We're going to be the visitors.
So that's what the selection's about. Okay. It's about creating a sort of space crew or a
And remember,
new,
it's second hand, so.
I understand that. A new breed of humanity who will be well equipped to go off into the cosmos like the Crusaders.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Crusaders.
Like the Crusaders. And it's like you give, it's like you've got the spirit of the Crusaders and you give them extraterrestrial technology to move with.
There you go.
And then...
And are any of us in any doubt that we're going to start planet hopping within the next century? Are you actually in any doubt with the technologies available now? Because we're doing it with robots.
Personally, I'm in no doubt at all that we've got a Mars base.
Oh, right, okay.
Is this something you've ever heard about?
Yes.
Okay. Can you say anything about that?
No.
All right. Okay. Do you want that off record?
No.
Okay. All right. That's fine.